I had always taken my activity in life as a purely personal matter, yet now I began asking myself questions. Was my story worth the effort? Would others really be interested? Vivien Thomas in his autobiography. Vivien Thomas, in title, was a janitor, son of a carpenter, grandson of a slave. While Alfred Blalock is remembered as a pioneer of cardiac surgery, Thomas is often forgotten. Thomas encountered countless problems because of his status as an African American, but that did not stop him from exchanging countless ideas with Blalock and ushering in a new age of exploration in medicine. Vivien Thomas was born on August 29, 1910, and grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. He was the youngest of 3 sons and had his father's skill as a carpenter. However, he wasn't interested in spending the rest of his life fixing buildings. He wanted to go to medical school and learn how to mend bodies. Sadly, this dream was quickly crushed during the Great Depression. Banks crashed and his entire college savings, 7 years of carpentry work, disappeared. In order to support his family, he set aside his college dreams and looked for a job. One happened to be available at Vanderbilt University Medical School, where Thomas would begin a lifelong partnership with Alfred Blalock, director of the research laboratory.
He knew that Vivien was someone very special. He trusted that Vivien had skills that perhaps he didn't have. In other words, the engineering skills, the creative skills with technology that Vivien could teach him about to apply in the operatory.
This setup allowed him to explore the world of medicine firsthand and exchange ideas with Blalock that would lead to major scientific breakthroughs. There was just one major drawback. He was technically employed as a janitor, the only position Vanderbilt offered to black workers. As a result, he was given very little pay and encountered virtually no recognition for his contributions. During the years of World War II, this was made abundantly clear when Blalock received all of the credit for a groundbreaking treatment for shock, a discovery that would save millions of lives on the battlefield. With such an important discovery, Blalock was given the opportunity to become chief of surgery at Johns Hopkins Medical School in Baltimore. Thomas knew that if he didn't follow Blalock, he would never get the chance to work in a laboratory again. The exchange he had with Blalock was the only reason he was even allowed in a laboratory. An African American stepping foot inside a prestigious laboratory, let alone conducting research, was unthinkable. In the end, Thomas decided to leave his hometown and a house that he built himself in order to follow his dream of exploring the field of medicine. As time goes on, I'm getting more and more involved with patients and hospital duties. I want to carry on my research and laboratory work, and I want someone in the laboratory whom I can teach to do anything I can do and maybe do things I can't do. Alfred Blalock when hiring Vivien Thomas. At Hopkins, segregation was very apparent. No African Americans served on the medical staff, with the single exception of Thomas due to Blalock's influence. In 1943, Thomas and Blalock encountered the greatest challenge in their careers, the tetralogy of Fallot, a birth defect that prevented a newborn's heart from pumping enough oxygen to the rest of the body, turning the baby blue, hence the name Blue Baby. Thousands were born every year with this condition, with virtually none able to survive to adulthood. Yet no one was searching for a cure. It would require physically altering the heart, something that was thought to be impossible. Helen Taussig, a pediatric cardiologist at Hopkins, refused to let these poor babies continue to die and recruited Thomas and Blalock to fix the defect. She had approached countless doctors, but only this duo was willing to take a risk and explore the untrodden territory of heart surgery. Taussig exchanged many ideas with them, and they decided that rearranging the arteries of the heart would be the best approach.
It was up to Vivien to figure out in the surgical lab how to do the operation. I don't think that we had surgical techniques to be able to fix significant heart defects at that time. I think just the fact that Vivien actually had to create the tools, the surgical tools that could be used for these procedures gives you an indication that it wasn't just an idea to adjust the technology just a little bit. It was quite groundbreaking.
After countless experiments, Thomas made a behind-the-scenes breakthrough. He had successfully cured a laboratory animal with simulated blue baby syndrome. Before teaching the procedure to Blaylock, however, he needed to hone his techniques to ensure the operation could be completed in under 2 hours. A surgery any longer would result in the death of the patient. Through hundreds of trials, it was finally perfected. On November 29, 1944, Eileen Saxon, an 18-month-old girl weighing just 8.8 pounds, was rushed into the operating room in critical condition. Although Thomas was an expert in the operation, he was forbidden to operate due to a lack of formal training. Their only hope was Blaylock, whose experience consisted of just one practice run. As the operation went underway, Blaylock demanded that Thomas stand right beside him and guide him through every motion. As the last suture was tied, everyone watched in awe as a healthy red color returned to Eileen's lips. The medical community exploded. Something that was thought to be impossible had become a tangible reality. Surgeons traveled across the globe to encounter the miracle operation for themselves, eager to explore this brand new field of heart surgery that pushed innovation to unimaginable boundaries.
More than 1,000 young people today owe their lives.
This was a huge news story because it was really the first time that anybody had been able to do anything for these kids. And, the kids would go from being a deep blue color and to all of a sudden turning pink in front of their parents' eyes.
With the success of the blue baby operation, heart surgery was proved to be possible. This sparked a wave of doctors to begin exploring this brand new field. Today, heart surgery saves more than 500,000 people every year.
It's really nice to be able to say that most patients with tetralogy of Fallot do well, and we know a bunch of very successful Olympians who have had tetralogy of Fallot, and that's amazing considering that it wasn't long ago that these children died.
Later on, Thomas became the chief of the Surgical Research Laboratory and mentored this new generation of explorers. Surprisingly, he did all this while struggling to financially support his family. At Vanderbilt, Thomas was given the payroll of a janitor, and even at Hopkins, he received only a portion of what he deserved. All this simply because he was a man of color. Blaylock was the most powerful surgeon in the world after the blue baby operation and could easily push Thomas into the spotlight. However, he never attempted to change the status quo in his partner's favor.
It is unfortunate that when Dr. Blaylock and Dr. Tausig wrote about their famous operation, that they did not include Vivien in that paper. Even though he made a substantial contribution to the development of the procedure. Unfortunately, Vivien Thomas lived most of his life still encountering the social obstacles that he started his life with. Vivien never got to fulfill his dream of being a physician.
Thomas never did receive the full academic recognition he deserved during his lifetime. Despite encountering such hardships, Vivien Thomas still managed to defy the boundaries previously set forth by scientists and ushered in a new age of exploration for medicine. His exploration of the human heart has saved millions of people that have encountered heart disease, and today we should give an answer to his question. Was my story worth the effort? Would others really be interested? I believe it was.